Hey now, welcome to the dirty side of the track, America's leading Formula One podcast. I'm Brian, that's Rob. Today, a handful of hours ago, was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We'll talk about that, but we're very happy you joined us this week. How are you doing, Rob?
You could always tell how much you thought of a race the way that you do your introduction. When you get all super excited and go, I can't wait to talk to you about the race, then we know it was a banger. When you say there was a race today, and we'll talk about that.
There was an race today. Oh.
Oh
And
yeah, we'll
interestingly, some people really liked it.
yeah, I know. Which I guess, yeah.
To each their own.
Well, each their own, yeah. So let's just crack on. We have news and social, we have our video vault. Then we have the review of the race weekend, and then we don't have a preview because we
2
have no
weeks.
race next week.
2 weeks to Singapore.
Yeah, baby. So, yeah, let's dive straight into the news. This one isn't news, actually. I just like the stats, so I grabbed it and I wanted to see if it survived because the cars were so fast at Monza last week, and we'd had or the week before, whenever it was, we had the world's fastest F1 race ever in the history of mankind. I thought, yeah, these cars must be much quicker than their predecessors. So, um, Valtteri Bottas in a Williams in 2016 still holds the highest top speed in an F1 car um, during an official race weekend at 378 kilometers an hour, or 200 and I can't read it because my eyes aren't very good.
34.
234,
Yeah.
234 miles per hour. I thought, I wonder if anybody gets close to that this weekend. No,
Nope.
no, not even close. Not even within, like, I think it's like they topped out somewhere maybe 328, 338, something like that. It was like tens of kilometers difference.
Yeah.
My brain can't compute that, because if last week in Monza they're the fastest ever and we had the quickest ever Grand Prix, then why aren't they as quick here?
So I
Mm.
once researched this many years
Ooh.
ago.
Mm.
I can't remember it, so don't get too excited. But there was a asterisk to this. It was like they put the party mode on high kind of situation, and low downforce, no wing. I think it was qualifying. Oh, it is. Yeah, it was qualifying. I'm looking at it, but there was some special kind of note on this thing. But anyway, did not happen. What did happen is they announced the 2026 sprint races. We have 6 of them once again. We have 3 of them returning to tracks we've been to before with sprints: China, Miami, and Silverstone. But we have 3 new ones joining the crew. Canada, where Rob and I will be. We get count them, 2 grids and grid starts right in front of us in our seats. So Canada, the Netherlands, in its final race, gets a sprint, and Singapore. So next year, Singapore will be a sprint. As I said, there are 6, but interestingly, 4 of them are before the mid-season break. So they're not leaving as many points on the second half of the season. They've done 3 and 3 pretty much straight every year. This next year in 26 will do 4 and then 2. So slightly less points available in the second half of the season.
There we are. And I'll let you read this one because you found this one and I haven't read it yet.
All right. So anyway, I have been cheering for somebody to run against Mohammed Ben Sulayem, whether it was Susie Wolf or the very brief Carlos Sainz Sr., which was this.
It's my dad. This guy's my dad. I'm my dad. Or he is me. No, I am him. I am him.
He had a case of the Pitlane Paul time travel situation going. But neither one of them entered the race. Unbeknownst to my sorry butt, it appears a gentleman named Tim Mayer has been running against Mohammed Ben Sulayem. I only know that because this week the election took a twist when the Swiss racing driver Laura Villars threw her hat into the ring as a candidate, as the third candidate. I said there was a second, and there was, and it was Tim Mayer. So anyway, we now have 3 candidates, and I'm sure Mohammed Ben Sulayem will win in a landslide because he's been out there locking up clubs for like forever. So I hope Mohammed has a challenge from Tim or Laura. She's, as I said, a racing driver. I like that. Someone who's actually been a racer recently and willing to put their self out there. So regardless of what happens, competition is good for everybody. I hope they put on a stiff competition and we get an actual election out of it.
I'm just hoping, because I really like the phrase and the way it conjures up an image in my mind, is that I hope that in order to put her name forward, she literally did have to throw a hat into a ring. But,
I would like to
nailed
have
it.
seen that.
Something else I saw this week, and I'm not sure I'm happy about it,
I'm
but
not.
the way it's going, I don't see anything else happening. But anyway, Isaac Hadjar is apparently on course for promotion to the Red Bull seat in 2026. Paddock sources confirm. I love a good anonymous paddock source. It's really easy just to say paddock sources. The next 3 races are important for Yuki Tsunoda. Helmut Marko, after Hadjar's first F1 podium finish, said he can withstand the pressure of the seat alongside Verstappen. Isaac is different, said Helmut. These words reflect how Red Bull views Hadjar and which direction the driver choice could go for 2026.
Is Isaac different? Because don't you remember after the first race in Australia, he went into the paddock, crying, left his helmet on. Anthony Hamilton, who is a dad, and dadded it up and went over there and consoled the young man, who turned out to be great. And it was, if I don't forget this and I get this wrong, it was the only person you're talking about, Helmut Marko, who was ripping him a new one for crying like that. So now Helmut loves him because he's a shiny toy, but when he was a crying toy, he didn't like him that much.
I think you nailed that one.
Can we get someone? Is Seb Vettel ready to replace Marko yet, please, in that role at Red Bull? Anyway, speaking of replacing, Alpine has they revealed, according to TheRace.com, there are only 2 drivers fighting for the 26 F1 seat. Franco Crashapinto, who we got a visit from in qualifying, and Paul Aaron, their test and reserve driver. Jack Doohan's name not mentioned, so if you had Doohan on your cards, you're going to want to scratch that off, it appears.
Yeah, which seems a bit harsh, being as that he hasn't done any worse than Colapinto's managed in less races. But
and don't you remember the 5 races for Doohan, and then it was Colapinto, and then if it's not good after 5 or 6, we may go back, or we'll give Jack another try. It's been not good.
Yeah, been not good all the time. And one last sort of team thing then. Cadillac has linked up with Jim Beam. And they put this as tying in American heritage to its 2026 debut. I mean, Jim Beam, I've started to drink more bourbon since I moved to this country. And Jim Beam, it's okay. It's the cheap shit stuff on the shelf, really. I'm not sure how much of a heritage Jim Beam really is for an American brand, but it's American and good for Cadillac and getting some sponsor money in.
It's money, baby. And then just a dumb question before we go to the video vault. Rob, do you know when Pitlane Paul's birthday is?
It's in March sometime.
All right, you got to get the date over the next few months so we have it for next year because we're going to do it.
because he's ripped us both.
I know. We're going to do him dirty for his birthday next year. So just don't forget. He kind of hinted it's like the week of China next year, but like if you could figure that out for us because
China in March. I know when his older brother's birthday is at the beginning of March.
Well, that's not real helpful.
Is a few days late. No, and I believe that his is a few days later. So I will find this out. Don't worry.
Please, thank you very much. And with that, Paul, be ready, and all listeners, be ready because next March we're coming in hot on Mr. Harris's birthday. But let's open the video vault. Man, I'll be honest. Like this week was really busy. I had a lot going on during the week. My, YouTube time was a little limited, and it may be for the future, but I will never not give it a try. And I found 2 good ones this week. They're short because, again, time was of the essence. Number 1, This is Impossible on the Scuderia F1 Ferrari Academy Challenge in Zandvoort. Yeah, good.
And pause it just right there. Having not watched this, was it actually possible in the end, or was it impossible?
100% possible.
Oh, wow, okay.
On the Ferrari channel, 5 minutes. This was fun. So it's the Academy drivers and the F1 drivers doing a couple games. One of them was, is this word in Dutch real or fake? I loved that part. That was phenomenal. Just she was making up fake Dutch words, and the team was trying to figure out if they're real or not. Lewis Hamilton looked so lost. Charles was so confident and so wrong. Phenomenal. And then, who is the ultimate meme champion? Featuring Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, Arvid Lindblad, and Pepe Marti on the Visa Cash App RBF1 Team channel. It took me a while because that's a long name of the channel. 5 minutes. It was fun, but there were no rules. They were basically just, first of all, somehow it made it seem like Isaac and Liam are old. They're not. Isaac's like 14 years old. He still doesn't shave. I mean, let's take her easy here. So they were all young in this challenge, but they were trying to figure out the memes, and they were trying to describe memes. It was almost like a weird Pictionary type game for memes, but there was no one really moderating it and making sure it wasn't just a bunch of cheating. Regardless, I like those drivers. I had fun watching it. So that was it. Rob, anything to add this week, or shall we close up the relatively brief video vote?
Haven't had a chance to watch it, and we haven't even talked about it yet because we haven't got there yet. But I think Lee on the Discord put the Lollipop Man must have been ridiculously quick doing a quali for Baku. So go check that one out. I'm sure his actual race one will be great as well, but I've never seen him turn one around that quickly. So
That's awesome.
And as we'll talk in a minute, there's quite a lot to talk about in Quali. So there was probably quite a lot for Lollipop Man to get his teeth into.
There is, and I'm a couple days shy of being current on the Discord. I saw Renato sent me a note as well, and I apologize, I'm a little late. But let's talk about the weekend. In order to do that, we got to close the vault before we move on.
So, practice. You were too damn early, and I didn't see a minute of you. Brian?
Way too early. It was like 4:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and just the way my days rolled out, by the time I had time to go back and start watching highlights of practice, it was time for Quali. So I just figured I'd go into Quali, not really knowing what was going on. I'd read the reviews on BBC Sport to see who'd been quickest or what have you. None of that. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how many practice sessions you'd watched or whatever you thought about, because nothing prepared you for what was about to happen in what I'm going to put down as one of the most insane quali sessions that I think I've ever seen in my life. Not necessarily for brilliant driving either.
I agreed. We've talked about it. We got to do a better job with our words and how we describe it. We've talked a lot about what becomes like I don't want to call it a farce, but like it's interesting to watch, not for the on-track driving. That was this. It was interesting to watch because it was just disaster after disaster. It wasn't good driving. It wasn't like you watched someone, wheel-to-wheel action, or someone, topping the times or the times dropping, the track evolving. This was who's going to stuff it next and where. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I was there for it, but...
Yeah. So if we go right back to the first one, I think it was 6 red flags across this quali.
6, you're correct.
For 2 hours. I think quali lasted for longer than the race.
I'll get to that in the SAP stats. It was an hour 58, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Special quality SAP stats. It was so bad, or good, or interesting.
I got a little bit of sympathy for Albon because first time I ever had an incident in my car was in a parking garage over here, multi-story back home. I was swinging into a spot. I was paying too much attention to the car that was to the right of me, and I cut in too close to the wall, and I clipped the front of the car on the wall on the left-hand side. That's what Albon did. He came in too much, and apparently that's the most embarrassing way to crash your car is to hit the inside corner. Not going so fast that you lose it and hit the outside corner, but if you clip the inside, and you could see how embarrassed he was in the interview. Apparently, the first time round, there wasn't as much grip there, so the car drifted a little bit. So he played on the fact the next lap that it was going to drift again. It didn't. It stuck like
not only did it, it was turn 1, which is also the hardest braking zone on the track. So it's not as though you don't know it's coming. I mean, that is the one where you're going to overshoot it 9 out of 10 times. And instead of undershooting it, he ran into the friggin' wall. I was surprised by that one. Can I say something about Alex real fast? I know we're going to tip our hand a little for some of the race. He had a bad weekend. This started it.
Yes.
He showed up and was standing with his teammates, with the mechanics. He was behind Vowles, cheering on Carlos on the podium.
No, whoa. We don't know who finished on the podium because we haven't done our race review yet.
Carlos Sainz is going to be on the podium. I love that. I love that Alex did that. He walked in his racing suit with his hat on, and he sat there and he cheered for Carlos. He didn't ask for the front row. They didn't make a big deal about it. He was just another team member there, another mechanic, another part of Williams, cheering for Carlos. I absolutely friggin' loved it. But anyway, he screwed that up pretty bad.
Then we had 2 red flags that I'm not we say this many times, I'm obviously not a professional F1 driver, but even I look at this and kind of think, well, Hulk decided just to not go round the corner. There was like no attempt to steer. It was like he was thinking about what's on his shopping list for tonight. Right, I've got to get some chilies for the curry and bang, well, it was a really weird one to watch. He just sort of drove straight. The next one made me laugh even more. Gasman goes off down the side road.
Yeah.
Colapinto, being the ultimate team player, comes around the corner and says, oh, Gasly's going to get a bit embarrassed for driving off down the side road here. I'll take all the pressure off him. I'll just bin it into the wall instead.
So hold on. I think we've seen this before where someone's off on an escape road or made a mistake, and the driver coming in and sees the mistake gets sort of distracted, sort of loses their focus. And they go, oh, there's a car down the escape. I got to make this corner, and it's too late. And Colapinto was staring at the gas man like he's not going to reverse out. Is he's going to know? Oh, I forgot to turn. And then he comes in hotter than a pistol. And the best part is the commentary team was like, whoa, Colapinto also having a problem at turn 4, I think, based on the transponder. No, we haven't seen him. And then we see the replay. He comes in, hits the barriers, goes up sideways. I'm like, dang, Franco.
So all that meant that we lost, well, obviously Albon, Gasman, Colapinto, and Holt because they all crashed, and somehow Ocon got himself in there as well. So he's not going to have a great weekend, despite the way the commentary team are going to try to praise him as the world's next best king of the pits.
Again, so bizarre. I don't understand what they did. Esty Bestie go up there and pay him money. He's like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to box 2 times in the first lap or 2. And then you're going to say I'm on a heater and you got to watch for me.
So everybody can see now, all the team principals can see, like, it's getting a bit crazy out there. The track, the wind, everything, it's just not going. It's a, come on, Q2, open up the pit lane. Away we go. Nothing stupid, lads. Let's just get a banker in. And, oh, that's Ollie Behrman. He's out. He's just crashed. And it was the world's most nothing crash.
Correct.
Every time I've watched this in a replay, I still don't understand how he broke his rear suspension. But I guess sometimes it's just the manner of the impact. It doesn't have to look spectacular.
Right.
But, yeah, he was screwed. So
I was
the next
watching
red
this.
flag,
I was watching this and I'm like, oh man. And then I realized the Top Gear in me was Oliver. So that was unfortunate. But you're right. It was a kiss of the wall. It was a peck, but it was enough to mess up the car. And Karun was trying to tell us, oh, the alignment is all wrong on the left side of the car. No, he hit the right side of the car and everything looked fine. He just, all of a sudden, the power went out. But okay.
which meant we lost Behrman, Stroll, Bortoletto, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, God.
Just, oh man, and Alonso.
Would it be
So-
embarrassing if Lewis Hamilton is unable to get on our Grand Prix podium before the person he replaced, Carlos Sainz in a Williams? I'm just asking a question. I don't know. No, I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just asking a question.
So, surely with only 10 cars left on track, nothing can now cause any problems. We're going to have Q3 where we're just going to get a nice shootout. Well, even if the drivers planned on having a nice shootout, Mother Nature had got the devil in her and just went, let's sprinkle a little bit of drizzle on parts of the track, but not all of it.
As Bernie Collins called it, she says, I'm Irish. This isn't rain. But so we saw Charles stuff it in turn 15. Now, I love turn 15. I wish I could go back to wherever we were when we talked about favorite turns. I don't think I added Baku 15 in there because it's got it's a 90-degree left, but it starts the downhill. B, the wall protrudes out. So it is always kissed. Rear tires are always kissing that thing. And it's Tech Pro, so it bounces a little. So, like, the drivers know they have a little leeway. Charles, on the other hand, decided to come in at 3 to 4 times the turning speed you need. And he locks up and goes flying straight in. And interestingly, he didn't use this previous Baku team radio.
I am stupid.
It was fitting, and I was yelling that at the TV during Qualy when that happened. But as you say, Mother Nature, the raindrops start falling on random parts of the track. We have a red flag. And at this point, Carlos Sainz is, I think, second or first. He had pole at this point.
He had pole because the camera
right.
went into his helmet view.
Yes.
And he was his eyes couldn't get any wider. He was kind of like, and I think he came on his radio and said, we need to start doing a rain dance.
Yes,
Because
I was doing a rain dance. This was Magnussen from Brazil a couple years ago in the sprint, right?
But then the red flag, Charles had done such damage on the barrier that it took a while to repair it. And because it's so windy, I think that really started to dry the track off of any drizzle or skiddiness that there was. So Max was on an absolute fly and he's charging down the back straight and we know he's got pole. He's literally 200 yards from crossing the line when Oscar says, haha, hold my beer, Max.
You nailed it. He was so close. So close to the finish line. I actually, can I put forth an idea? Oscar doesn't make a lot of mistakes. We've talked about that. So you're right. He puts it into the wall. He has 2 big mistakes in the Grand Prix. After this one, is there a chance what's his girlfriend's name, Lily? Is there a chance that Lando had kidnapped her and has her in a warehouse in Baku and says, like, you're not getting any points this weekend and I'm going to let her go. Otherwise, you're never going to see your girlfriend again. There's no way Oscar was this bad this many times. Something happened. There's something going on.
But as we'll get there, for Oscar, if he has to have an off week and make a mistake and show that he's human, it's going to work out absolutely fine for him.
It did. Crazy.
It's crazy.
He couldn't have had a worse weekend.
He couldn't have had a worse weekend, but then he couldn't have had a better way of us playing his get out of jail free card almost.
Wow.
Well, unless Max goes on a run, and we'll come to that later. But...
We'll come to that later. So the stats. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, after you.
No, but though eventually Carlos's heart is broken because Verstappen has, after Piastri bins it, we have something like 3 minutes 46 left on the clock, which is enough for everybody to get out, go around, and do another flyer. So Max, it's all looking a bit greasy still. Like Norris goes out and puts a second at the time, so he goes right in behind Sainz, and he can't beat him.
Was he even aware of the idea that Oscar's girlfriend is being held hostage? He set this up. He should have done a better job. That was a bad lap. That was a bad lap for Lando.
It was a bad lap, and he hit the wall, but he was second, so it was all looking good. And then I don't remember the exact order of all of these, but Max came round on an absolute flyer, showing everybody how to put faith in a little bit of a greasy track and breaks Carlos's heart. Liam Lawson, he wasn't camping out on a pre-time that he was hoping to hold on to. He legitimately went out there and nailed a lap and put it third. Then we had the two Mercedes in Antonelli and Russell, then Yuki. So Norris, after seeing Oscar crash and a big chance to go capitalise and stick it on the front row alongside Max, ends up seventh. And we get Hadjar, Piastri and Leclerc to round out the top 10. But what an absolute ridiculous qualifying session. 1 hour and 58 minutes, not 2 hours. Let's not exaggerate. With 6 red flags.
6 red flags, 1 hour and 58 minutes. Longer than last year's entire Grand Prix in Baku. 6 red flags is a new record, surpassing the 5 as we heard on TV. The 5 at Imola in 22 and Brazil in 24. There were 3 red flags, as we discussed, in Q1, 1 in Q2, and then 2 in Q3. But interestingly now, Max has 6 poles in 2025, the most of any driver. I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. It was his first career pole in Baku and the first Red Bull P1 in Baku as well. So we talked about Max last week when we previewed the episode. We talked about where he's finished and how he's had some challenges with his tire exploding and then the badly timed VSC. Boy, that lap he put in, I don't know how to describe it. Yes, it was raining, the track was greasy, people were pushing and making mistakes. Carlos looked like the best of the F1 drivers, and Max looked like the best of everyone who's a Hall of Famer, and no one else showed up for that event. Max was, how far ahead of Carlos was he? I can't remember in the quality, but it was significant. Yeah, 4/10. And so to me, if you don't think Max is great, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, in fairness, it's a bit of a strange one to look at because Max probably should be 0.4 seconds ahead of a Williams. It was just absolutely amazing that Carlos was even up there.
But where were the Ferraris?
Yes, agreed.
Where were the Mercedes who had pace? Where was Lando? So like in my mind, Max just did what Max does. He's a race driving robot sent back from the future who's just that good.
So as we're sat down waiting for the lights to go out, as it's on the formation lap or however long it was, at this point I decided it was time to play my final fix chip on Fantasy and ditch Oscar and bring in one Max Verstappen. So I just had enough budget to bring Max in. So I'm sat there thinking, come on then, Max, you can convert this to a win. Let's not have a stellar drive from Piastri rocketing up from 9th to 1st. And within about the first 6 seconds, it all seemed to come into fruition because we watched everybody get away well, and suddenly, but we didn't know why at this point, Oscar was dead last.
And they said that. They go, Oscar's at the back of the pack. I'm like, no, you mean like the midfield? Like, back of what? Like, he's at the back of the leaders? No, he's last. Like, what? And then before they could even show it, he stuffed it right into the wall. What? Like I told you, Lily was being held. Liam Neeson is somewhere in Baku looking for Lily to make her out safe.
I'm telling you, we all know exactly what happened there.
Do we?
Oscar screwed up and messed his start up.
Yes, he did.
And then followed was 15 seconds of the red mist descending where he overdrove to make up for making such a stupid mistake. And he's just gone in too hot before his tyres are warmed
Oscar
up.
Doesn't do that.
But I'm just telling you, he's human.
You're right.
And the red mist came down, and that was a pure emotional I've got to make up these positions because I'm 20th. Bang.
Another reason I love this pod, you're totally right. That's exactly what happened. My favorite part of it wasn't Oscar's jump start and then anti-stall and then falling to last. It wasn't his driving in anger when he crashed. It was Fernando Alonso behind him who's watching the lights and then sees a car in front of him jump, and Fernando goes, time to go. And he jumps, but the lights hadn't gone yet. So Fernando got a penalty. And then later, like 4 laps later, 5 laps later, on the team radio, they finally, share it with us. He goes, yeah, sorry, my fault. I saw Oscar go. I got confused. I would have done the same thing. This is what happens at stoplights. Fernando is one of us. He's a human.
He is, and do you know what? I thought credit for Alonso there for just owning that one, because he's the type of driver that could have had an absolute hissy fit on the radio when he heard that, but he knows what the rules are. It's not like in some sports where you get false starts in, I think in like sprinting and swimming and stuff. It's the one that goes first is the one that gets penalised. Everyone else is kind of forgiven for the fact that, well, you just reacted to that guy going. But no, Formula One, you're expected to watch the lights and not care about what anybody else does. And fair play to Fernando. He just went, yeah, I screwed up. Sorry, guys.
So we had a safety car from Oscar's crash, and we saw Ocon and Albon pit. It was early, and I think Albon went medium to medium. If I remember, I'm getting that wrong. But what's interesting is Ocon pitted and then went back around and pitted again.
Is that because of his contact with the Hulk?
That's what I think, but no one said it at the time, and I haven't looked at anything all day. He did have contact with Hulkenberg, and he was tossed up in the air, and it was his right rear tire which was hit. I wanted to assume there was a slow puncture there and that they had to box him, and then they decided to change the compound while they're at the back of the track anyway under an SC, and they're like, all right, we're in the safety car, won't hurt, we can box again. But what it did do is set up the commentary team. Now that Ocon had boxed twice, they're like, oh, he is now going to finish the race from here. He's in 19th position, but we think Esteban is going to carve through the field. And they kept talking about it over and over again.
He's 19 seconds behind third spot, and it's 20 seconds for a pit stop. Ocon's in a great position for a really high points finish. I'm like, no, he's not.
No, not at all.
He's gonna have to nurse these tyres for the entire race. There's no way he holds on a 19-second gap to the leader.
What were they talking about?
And I don't know if it's because nothing else was happening, so they just latched on to some potential zero to hero drive from Ocon, but it was just bizarre, and it'll keep coming back later. They kept mentioning it.
It was 6:10 in the morning on a Sunday, and I'm sitting there watching this and going, what in the world are they talking about? And so I wrote it in the notes. I texted Rob. I go, are you as bumfuzzled as I am by what they're talking about? He's like, yeah, I don't get it either.
So Lando's day went from bad to worse on the restart. And two drivers actually messed up. So George got squeezed out by Kimi. It's a great move by Kimi.
Great move by Kimi. He had the corner. He didn't have to give George space. He did a great job. That was excellent move in turn 1 by Kimi.
Yeah, and Lando wasn't paying attention. He was maybe watching Oscar with his feet up in the little marshal's booth. Oh, there's Oscar watching the race. Oh, crap, they've restarted.
I think he waved. He's waving to Oscar like, hey, buddy, how you... Oh, crap. I lost a spot.
So Charles had got him, and he never recovers from this. Because he'll spend so long behind Charles now.
Oh, my God.
It just kind of ruined it from there. And what did we get then? We just got... Not a lot, other than kind of...
Wait, one last thing. The safety car restart. I loved as they're coming down the start-finish straight. Long straight, even though after 16 there's a couple bends, but they count them as corners, I don't. And Max is weaving. I don't even think to get temp in his tires, just to throw everyone off from when he's going to go. Because the safety car's in, he's past the safety car line, it's green, it's his call, and he is weaving like a maniac. And the reason I love this is cars 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are all weaving to get tire temp. 2 is Carlos Sainz. He's not having any of this. He's going in a straight line. He's got his foot just dangling above the accelerator. And I loved it because the visual coming down, by the way, the direction I thought was horrendous this weekend, but that's a different story. When they were doing this, and they're watching this, and Carlos is just in a straight line. Like, I'm waiting for you, Max Verstappen. I loved it. Sign me up. That my favorite part of the race right there was like everyone weaving. Carlos, nope, not for me. I'm ready to go. He got caught. He still was dropped a bit at that point. But anyway,
you say favorite part, and we are going to say that when we get to about lap 10, that's going to be the end of a huge amount of action for a very long time. So But what I will say is that I was caught out by two drivers. We got to so the safety car restart, and we wrote lull at lap 13 because everybody now was slotting into pace management. You're trying to make this a one-stopper. You also don't know if rain is coming, so you're going to try to extend the first stint as long as possible. That's a double whammy of lull recipe because
Tire
I'm
management,
not only
stopper.
time management and trying to extend it in case rain comes. It just meant there was a lull. But even when there was a lull, we had Carlos. Okay, he was falling back for Max, but he was pulling away from third. He was not getting caught by what I thought he was going to get gobbled up by faster cars behind him. And why wasn't he? Because Liam Lawson,
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder, as we called him here, for
Yes.
driving into different people all over, put in one of the most mature performances, and we'll get there later when he does it all over again towards the end. But he was having none of it either. He was putting that racing bull in places that, what you got behind him? Kimi, so you've got a Mercedes, you've got Yuki, you've got George, you've got Charles, you've got Lando, you've got Lewis. You've got cars that should be going past both a Racing Bull and a Williams, and those two just nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
We were trading notes, and then I had a bunch of friends texting me as well around who would be driver of the day. And I'm like, Carlos. And I didn't even think of it. I just wrote Carlos. And they go, what about Liam? And I'm like, F Liam. Stevie Wonder. But then I thought about it, and you're right. He, if Fernando Alonso, from his drive in Hungary when Esti Besti won to many other drives, is like the Spanish Minister of Defense. I know we gave that to Checo for a couple races. I'm not sure I would do that permanently. Liam Lawson was the Kiwi Minister of Defense so long in that race. He held up and was the bottle stopper for all these cars behind him, better than him, more experienced than him, faster than him. And yes, it's hard to pass in Baku. And yes, with the wind the way it was, the DRS was less powerful. It was the way Rob likes it. You arrive at the turn one braking zone, and you got to be real brave or you ain't going to make it. And that's what the wind did. And no one could make it because you had to be real brave and you just could not do it. And so Liam was that cork in the bottle for so long. I loved it. And yes, we make fun of him and we talk about his penalties and all of the causing a collision penalties. Dude drove a great race.
Yep. Then we get one that we both got confused on. We're at lap 18 now. Sleep is calling us at this point because not a lot is happening. Albon hits Franco, which confused... I didn't write the notes, but I agree with Brian. Confused both of us because Franco was hanging out in about position 12.
Yeah.
Albon was at the back.
Last.
And all of a
18th.
sudden they're colliding. Now, maybe Franco pitted and we just didn't see it. That's the only thing I can think. Because there's no way Franco just suddenly dropped from 12th to last. But anyway,
I don't know. They showed Oscar in a deck chair on the side of the track, turn 5, with a Marshall's phone in front of him and a bottle of water. I'm thinking, that's a great seat. I'm like, is he watching there on the phone to see if Lily's been released from, the hostage situation? So he gives up the lead of the track. But where did Franco come from? And that was 100% on Albon. He just stuck his nose in on the inside, like, hey, I'll take this. There's nothing there to take, Alex.
And at this point, it's been 84 years of Charles sitting in Yuki's DRS and just not being able to do anything. So eventually he boxes. Liam pits as well. But Kimi comes out. When he comes out, he's right in front of Kimi, and Lawson's tyres aren't up to temperature, not warm enough yet, and he just can't hold him off. So Kimi gets him, and I thought that was going to be the start of Lawson just falling back, and he's going to do well to hold on to one of the lower end of the points. But I'm going to be wrong on that as well.
Yeah, it's just the tires. They need to warm them up. And at this point, I asked a question. We're at lap, 21, 22. We haven't seen Max F. Verstappen for, 16 laps, and his lead is just building. And we're getting action basically because of pit stops. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I wonder if this is Max's thought.
This is boring. Should have brought my pillow.
I don't know if that was his thought, and I know that was Monaco, but this was basically a similar version of Monaco, just higher speed. Oh, I was struggling. I was almost asleep. Max was anonymous. Oh,
but then it happened.
Did it really? Tell me about it.
Ocon rocketed up from 19th to 15th because of these amazing overtakes he did while people were in the pits. So did he cash in his 19th to 3rd? No, but close. 19th to 15th. There we go.
So I wrote, oh my God, a bunch of profanities. Ocon to 15th, due to mainly pit stops and racing.
Just an incident.
And then Rob goes, I'm assuming this is sarcasm. I wrote totally. I don't know. I've never seen two commentators gin up a driver for no reason much. None.
Yeah, no pace.
No
nothing,
pace.
But at least it was kind of giving us entertainment in the notes, because at this point, in caps lock, I had written, can something please happen?
At lap 26, no one in the top 12 was within a second of the car in front of them.
Gosh. So, and we kind of had another round of pits. Bortoletto, Sainz came in, so this was the nervy one. You know, will it all go to plan? Yes, it did. No drama. He kept going. And then Charles came out behind Liam. Oh, sorry. He started sort of gathering up to him. He thought, okay, fine. He's going to dip into DRS.
He did.
Well, now he's going to get him straight away. And I wrote in the notes, when we record tonight, I think Charles will still be behind Lawson because he just could not get him at all.
And again, I know people like this race. I will hear from Paul, who I think liked this race. For 51 laps, I found it really boring after lap 10. And I want to like this race, and I love F1. But Rob wrote on lap 36, nothing has happened since the last note. I'm just writing this to stop the laptop from hibernating. And again, I know everyone has an opinion, and I'm happy that people have opinions, and we love everybody on the dirty side. So if you love this race, great. Tell us why. Like, teach us what you love about
it. I tried really hard to do, like, okay, we're not commentators. We can't do a commentator curse, but I thought maybe I could do a note writing curse. So we section our notes to talk about what happens kind of in the first third, middle third, end third. So at the beginning of the end, I wrote, at least the end is coming. Will I regret writing this? Or maybe rain or something gives us an epic ending. I was trying to force it speak it into existence.
Well, and then we were sitting on a Lando pit stop. It was coming soon. He hadn't boxed yet. The commentator said, he's going for a tire offset. This is 2025. These tires are made out of Kevlar. You can shoot bullets at them. They never go off anymore. We were on the softest compound. We had the C6, which is crap, and then the rest of them, which are made out of never-ending gobstoppers. You can run on them forever. And so they go, he's going for a tire offset. This is not Abu Dhabi 2021. That's not how this works anymore. Yes, it matters, but it's Baku, and it's windy, and the DRS isn't meaning anything. And they said, Lando's going to box and he'll have fresher tires and he'll be able to pass everybody. Will he? I doubt it. Turns out, didn't matter. He boxed, lap 38 or 40? A 4.1 second pit stop. And at this point, Rob and I are just trading text messages that they've asked Oscar to back away from the turn 5 wall because it was a bad stop for Lando. I'm like, what are we doing here?
And then this is the sliding. If there was any potential excitement coming in this race, there's a sliding doors moment that kind of probably consigned Lando to where he ended up finishing. He came out just behind the Charles and Lawson Yuki battle. And if he'd have done a 2-point-something stop, he'd have come out ahead of that battle.
Right.
So that's number one. Yuki boxed and came out ahead of Liam, so he maintained his space. But fair play to Liam. He's been in tyre management mode all race, just keeping people behind him, and he sensed blood with Yuki out on fresh tyres. He went for it, immediately got him, and now Charles is back staring at the back of the Yuki one, and Yuki became the cork in the bottle here.
Yeah.
Liam disappeared for a while. They're going to catch him in a few laps' time, but he disappeared, and we had the Yuki Charles Lando train that just two equally matched cars around here, and they could never, none of them I even think had a sniff at looking up the inside of anybody. Now you reverse that time there, and Lando does a 2-something second and comes out ahead of that gang.
Right.
I think he's got free air to go chase down
Which the
Carlos.
McLaren loves the free air.
Yeah, so that was the real sliding doors moment in this race. So George boxes, and they did it really well. They call it, I think it's the overcut, isn't it? Because he extended and came out.
George drove a great race, anonymously. Solid race. Sick
him and
all
Max,
weekend.
witness protection. Yeah,
sick all weekend. He just drove, and like people joke, do nothing special, finish second. That's what he did. He was, I'm going to drive as fast as I can, manage my tires, and then his pit stops put him in second. Not overtakes on the track, but his pit stops. And it worked. Good for him. Good for him. And then at this point, lap 41, oh boy. Ocon is told to swap positions down for Ollie because Ollie's on a different tire strategy. Man, I'd been 41 laps of the commentary team telling me to watch Esteban Ocon. I'm watching this guy. I'm paying full attention to Esty Bestie. And he's the bee's knees, the man to watch. He's on the supreme strategy, the tire whisperer here this week. And then the team goes, please let Ollie by. And I'm thinking, oh, well, why would they do that? Didn't they listen to the commentary team? He's going to finish in the points. Sorry, I'm done. I just was frustrated. There was a bad race. Don't make stuff up.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're going to get basically 10 laps of Liam driving flawlessly because the Yuki Lando Lewis, or whatever it was, Charles as well. No, they swapped them, didn't they? Anyway, the Yuki Lando Lewis Charles train caught Liam back up again. He disappeared when he caught Yuki by surprise. He disappeared a couple of seconds up the road, but then once Yuki's tires came in, they started eating into it. I thought, uh-oh, sitting duck now. You got 4 fast cars behind you. Yuki's going to get you. Lando's going to get you. You know, it's going to be just the dominoes are going to topple. Not even in the slightest. Not even in the slightest. He drove that thing brilliantly.
He did.
They said when they did the analysis, I think it was Karen that said, he didn't drive defensively, so don't treat this as a defensive drive because he never took his car off the racing line. He kept the line, he kept the corner speed. He knew that if he could get whatever, is it turn 15, where if you can just be more than they were saying about 0.6 ahead of the car
out of 16.
you.
16's the one on the
16.
straight. Yep.
So even if you've got DRS, as long as you can keep yourself about 0.6 ahead, they just won't be able to get you into turn 1. And he just did that 10 times over and over and over again, never missing his mark. Never giving any of the guys behind him a chance to even sniff. Now, I'm going to be a little bit mean here and say that because Yuki was the head of that train, I don't think he had the most aggressive driver behind him that was even going to try and put his nose in.
The train behind Liam.
I think if Liam has gone, if Lando is leading that train, or if Charles is leading that
you
train,
mean the first car in the train after Liam? Yeah. I'm thinking of leading the train as a conductor, but okay.
Oh, okay. You know what I mean.
I'm trying to explain for the listeners.
I think they were with me.
I don't.
So I think by having Yuki at the head of he was the one with DRS because Liam didn't have DRS. So the first driver with DRS being Yuki, I think actually probably helped Liam a little bit. But Liam did a brilliant job, absolutely brilliant.
So for me, it was lap 46 or so. Like you say, it was Liam, Yuki, Lando, Lewis. We'd watched this, and I said, I don't think anything will change. This race has been boring. The overtakes have been low. It's windy. The DRS is not that powerful. Like you say, Yuki's not super aggressive, and he's the first one behind Liam. Lando really's got to lay it on the line because the car in front of him has DRS, and we know the McLaren is it's fast in a straight line, but not as fast as the Red Bull and some other cars. They're better at high-speed corners, of which there are none here. Yeah. And then Lewis behind him, and Ferraris have been crap the whole weekend, so don't expect anything there. So I said I don't think it'll change, and it didn't. For the next 5 laps until the end, nothing changed. But, I want to talk about something. This is really important. Ted Kravitz. At this point, we have a Mercedes. Who was it in between George and Kimi? Carlos and then Kimi. So we have Mercedes, Williams, Mercedes. And Ted Kravitz, in his excitement, says, look, we've got ourselves a Mercedes sandwich. You, Ted Kravitz, that's not how it works. You don't name it after the bread. We've done a whole video on this. I think I want to send it to him. That's not how it works. But
I think we should republish our YouTube song done by the legendary Andy Ellis and tag Ted Kravitz in it and say, listen to this, because you do not name it. It is a Carlos sandwich on Mercedes bread.
Of course. And so then for me, the last thing of racing action to talk about, they come down for the last lap. And we didn't talk about the Ferrari team orders earlier, I don't think. And so Charles gave way for Lewis. And he really gave way. So I wrote, is this team orders, ? And then about 5 minutes later, the commentary team's like, well, was that team orders? Yeah, no one gets past that fast. He just
Even
moved
they
over.
fell asleep watching this.
Yeah, and so then like literally at the last lap, coming down the straight to the line, Lewis, you see him move over, and I'm like, is he giving the spot back to Charles? That's a good teammate move. He screwed it up. He went too far. He crossed the line ahead of Charles.
He didn't. I thought this as well, but online they basically said that on the team radio, by the time they come and tell Lewis to give it back, it's too late. And even when he lifts up, unless he actually put an emergency stop on and hit the brake,
which
pedal,
you can't do. You get an accident doing that.
Exactly. So he lifted massively, but he had a 2.5 second lead over Charles. So even when he lifted, you're so close to the finishing line that.
I mean, I love Lewis. I'm not Team LH, but I love Lewis, and I thought he kind of was like, "Hey, I should give the spot back," but not really. Thank God, didn't do that. All right, I'm good. I'm back. I'm all good now.
And then we had my favorite radio message of the season so far, which is Carlos, as much as I love him, kind of messing up his own song. I know he's the smooth operator. Don't change the word. Don't say this is my first smooth operation.
He did that.
It makes it sound.
I know he did that at Ferrari,
like he's in surgery.
He did that at Ferrari once as well. Smooth operation. No, I agree with you. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But it was brilliant. It was just brilliant to see his face. Like you could see him smiling through the helmet when they showed helmet cam, and he was just punching the air. And I was just so happy because I just thought that Williams wouldn't have the pace to keep those faster cars behind him.
I mean, he's had
drive.
Bad luck all season. We've talked about this. Bad luck in Qualy, bad luck in the race. Wasn't it early in the season where he had a situation? Here it is. It was, where was the torque steer thing? Here it is.
Like a massive torque delivery. I don't know.
I think that was Australia, where he had a massive torque delivery and he went into the wall. So I love that this happened for him. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Carlos. Like he's one of those drivers. He seems like a good dude.
Yeah.
His team was happy for him. His management team was happy for him. I loved it. And then Martin Garrix was the DJ playing at the track, and he put out the like hip hop Sade Smooth Operator song immediately. And I'm watching this thing.
That's what you got excited about. That was lost on me. I missed that.
That was what, so you could hear it in the background. And again, a bunch of people are texting me like, oh, the track is playing Smooth Operator. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Martin Garrix is in charge of the DJ sets after the race. And he knows F1. We danced, we hung out with Martin Garrix effectively in Canada a couple years ago, 3 years ago. We know him so well. But he's friends with Max and Lando. And when Carlos had this happen, he put the Smooth Operator out there, and I friggin' loved it.
So that was 51 laps where we've barely mentioned a particular name, which we now have to mention because he stood on the top step for second race in a row. One of us here at the Dirty Side might have predicted that he was going to win this week.
Oh, not this week. I said he'd win again, though.
Yeah, but on the midweek predictions, one of us said that Max would win this week.
No, I don't watch those things. You said he'd win?
Yes, I did.
I do watch. I'm kidding.
And it was like we were getting into a DeLorean and going back to 2023 because the way he controlled this, it was a Grand Slam, I think. You noted it down, right? It was whole fastest lap, led every race, won the race. Led every lap.
Led every lap. He led all the races too, though. This week.
Yeah, but this was just him dominating like we were used to seeing all the time. It was just, and you could see he was genuinely happy when he crossed the line. I think he's had a season of a lot of frustration, and they've done something with that car. There's some people saying, "Oh, now that Horner's gone, they've unlocked the pace in the car."
Nope.
I think this is a natural evolution of teams work stuff out as the season goes on, and they've stumbled across. They've been honest and kind of said they were throwing ideas at the wall, trying to get some pace out of this car, and they've just happened across something which is working at the high speed tracks,
high speed, low downforce tracks. Yeah, they are right now with the car they have that they've evolved through the year. I'm with you, with the way the car has evolved. I think it's a really slippery car. You go low downforce, this thing reacts phenomenal. So if I'm betting Vegas this far out for the weekend before Thanksgiving, man, I'm betting Max Verstappen. That's a low downforce track. Now, we have some high downforce tracks coming, which is not really their cup of tea. But low downforce, give me Max, give me that Red Bull. I feel good. Yeah,
I think he just did a brilliant job. He was one of the few people you can say, maybe alongside George and Carlos and Liam Lawson, really didn't put a foot wrong all weekend.
Agreed.
I think those three deserved the podium. Sorry, George. I would love to have seen Carlos be on the second
Me
step.
too.
But
Me too.
the fact Carlos was even on the podium is amazing. But we just have to, because he went into witness protection for like the entire race. We got to give Max the kudos there because it was, like I say, it was like just stepping back in time and seeing him at his best.
I would like to give Yuki a little shout out, a mini shout out. 6th is a good result for a guy, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means for Red Bull. But 6th is a good result for a guy who's really struggled for a long time in that car. And yes, I know he finished behind Liam, but still, so it won't taste as sweet finishing behind a Racing Bull, his old car. But it should still be sweet being a 6th. I thought that was a good drive from Yuki. Was he really aggressive? No. Did he make any mistakes? No.
That's the end of your thought.
You're up, Rob. It's your turn to talk.
You took. Like
Did he make a mistake? No. Did I think it was great? No. Your turn, Rob. Or you Lando on the restart at the beginning?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Come on. We've got to get on to our King of the Pits and the Pits.
Let's do it.
So
let's do King of the Pits.
The music.
King of the Pits first, as always.
You're the king of the pit.
All right, I will go first so Rob has a minute to think, and I'm going to give mine to Max. Man, you could give it to George for being in witness protection and just driving solid and ending up second. You give it to Carlos. Putting a Williams, and we'll talk about what that means in the stats, on the podium is amazing. Liam, I mean, he drove a great race, finished 5th, phenomenal. But Max dominated this race, dominated this weekend. His Q3 pole position lap in Qualy was amazing. He didn't do anything wrong. His second Grand Slam in a row. I got to give it to Max. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not the world's biggest Max fan. I respect the hell out of him. I like him. He nailed it.
So I've been tracking on our little... This has got nothing to do with Rob versus Brian, but in our predictions, I've also been tracking King of the Pits and the Pits each week so that we can have sum them all up and see who our official King of the Pits and the Pits is. You and I have both voted for Max on multiple occasions this year, and therefore, and I really should again for all the reasons that you just said, but given how many times we've actually also both voted for Liam as the Pits, and we're very quick to beat him up, I was absolutely blown away by the maturity of that drive today when he needed to keep that DRS train behind him, and I really didn't think he was going to. And I want to give it to Carlos as well. I really do.
Me too.
And I want to give it to Max, but I'm going to give it to Liam because I just think we bash him a lot.
Fair.
And therefore, this
he
might be the one. This might be the one time this season where he earns it. So
I mean, he is. Even though we joke he's Stevie Wonder, he's been so much better the last 4 or 5 races. Anyway, whatever. Let's talk about the pits.
You're the Pits.
All right, so it's hard for me to give it to Albon because
you're going first, are you? You're going first.
I am. Yeah, you're witnessing it. I can't, he went out and cheered for Carlos, and I like Alex. And I just can't give it to him. Crash a Pinto, he did fine in the race, so I'm giving it to the F1 Sky Sports TV direction. The commentary team invented an Esteban Ocon, Herculean move from 19th to nowhere. The decision to use the camera at the end of the turn 1 runoff, I couldn't tell where anybody was for the whole time. They're coming at you from 14 miles away. Have they passed anybody? I can't tell because they're 14 miles away, 13 miles away, 12 miles away. Still can't tell. They weren't even at the turn. They were at the back of the runoff. That was terrible. So I'm giving to Sky Sports F1 direction and commentary.
Okay, and in the same way that I'm giving Liam King of the Pits for maybe what might be the only time I get to give him that this season, my Pits is going to somebody that I probably will only give to once this season, and that's Oscar Piastri. Because he absolutely had a nightmare of a weekend. He absolutely screwed up everything he could screw up this weekend. And therefore... Sorry, Oscar, but you can't be doing that if you're in the hunt for a driver's title. You can't be screwing up watching the lights go out. You kind of do that every week. You know,
Right.
they light up and they go out, then you press the accelerator. And then when you have messed up and you have fallen to the back, you know, you relax and see if you can make anything of this day. And maybe there's a safety car and you just kind of bide your time and get yourself back into the zone and away you go. What you don't do is go charging down to the first corner and show how you're going to overtake all 19 cars in one go and bin it. So love you,
Wow.
Oscar, but you're getting my pits this week.
I'm telling you, man, there's no way. His girlfriend was being held hostage. He was forced to do this. But people know better than us, and those people are Pitlane Paul. Let's hear from him. So Paul was kind enough to give us 2 reports. I haven't heard either. I can't wait to hear them. Here they are.
Hey now, I'm going to be Pitlane Paul proper because I'm actually, well, not into pit lane, but I'm in Baku. And then tomorrow night, I actually won't be in Baku. I'll be back home. I'll be Baku homo. Oh, God. No, that sounds wrong. Let's change that. I'll be Baku home. Let's just say that. God, I really should start this again. No, I'm going to push on. I'm going to be a professional. So I will do another episode tomorrow evening, but I think I just slightly want to review that session because crumbs is pretty much all I can say. All that's probably left of many cars. So I don't know. I mean, it was mistake after mistake. I mean, Lewis, wow. Charles, wow. I mean, Oscar, wow. I mean, even Lando on his last lap. I mean, how he's managed to even get around it is a mystery. So I think tomorrow's race could be pretty exciting. I mean, Max is just, that's why Max is, you know, regarded as highly as he is. You know, there's a reason that he's that highly rated. And then again, for the likes of Lawson and in Carlos, like, let's just be in the right place at the right time, taking advantage of the situation you have when it comes your way. So credit to everyone. I mean, 2 hours for a qualifying session somewhat knocked me, but all in all, wow. I'll just leave it as wow. Honestly, I thought that was excellent. Really enjoyable qualifying session. Long, but really enjoyable. And I will be back tomorrow to review. Hopefully, will be an equally as exciting and lovely race. Speak soon.
Well, he may think it is.
Spoiler, it won't be.
Well, but he may think it is. Paul, are you there? Paul?
Well, as I said, finally back in the good old UK. Just loading the shopping in the car.
Of course.
Luckily, the bag didn't break. But yeah, roast lamb, I think. I mean, other animals are available, but let's go lamb today. Anyway, let's get back to a race with you.
Let's go,
Well,
Paul.
that was a lot better, wasn't it? I mean, where'd you even start on that? I mean, let's just ignore Max. Let's ignore Max Verstappen. I think that's for the best. Not because we don't like Max, just because it's pointless talking about him. I mean, A, he's superb, and B, well, all of the other things, really. So, anyway, behind George Russell, I thought excellent drive. I sort of reiterate what I said last week. I still can't quite believe he hasn't got a... I've just put my trolley back, very considerate shop. I never understand why people just leave trolleys by the car. It's not for me. Anyway, there we go. Other supermarkets are available in the UK, of course, not just Sainsbury's, but it is my one of choice. Excellent nectar points.
So that Tesco's.
God, I Sainz third. Wow, fair play. I mean, I didn't think he'd hang on to it, just because of the standard of what was going behind. So I actually think that was pretty amazing, to be fair to him. But it was an excellent race, lots of overtaking. I'm probably going to single out McLaren. And I've got to single out McLaren because, I mean, they are probably going to be, let's say, a talking point. I've always been an Oscar fan. You know, I've always said that he's the one who doesn't crack. He's the one who doesn't break. He's the one who doesn't falter. And all weekend, he's faltered. He's broken. So, actually, no. Yeah, it's a strange one from him, really. I don't know. And then in fairness to Lando, I mean, look, he done what he can. He was let down by a pit stop again. You can't knock the guy on that account. And again, like I said, no one does these things on purpose. It's just pressure from the teams, and I think everyone was sort of expecting him to win the constructors this weekend. And the old saying, "Egg on your face." I have just bought eggs, by the way. A reasonable price, and I think you get like 30 nectar points if you buy a pack of 6. So, very happy to have bought those just in the supermarket. But they've ended up with egg on their face. That is a certainty. And then, but yeah, it sort of was then an excellent race as a result of their mistake in a weird way, because Liam Lawson's special shout out there. Wow. Again, similar to Carlos, you expected him to go backwards, but he was just a really well-controlled race. I'm going to single out Yuki as well, just because I think Yuki had probably one of the strongest weekends he's had.
Yep.
I know we're not going to get into this argument. It's the car. So to see actually him get that performance was good. Quite amazed that they didn't track him down at the end of the race and didn't get by and all that sort of old gubbins. But yeah, I quite liked it. Like I've never been a fan of a DRS train, but actually, every lap you seem to be thinking they might get by. So I think it's good. I think it's to be applauded. So let's not be too critical of the Grand Prix. I think it was really good. Lewis tried. I mean, really frustrating for him yesterday, as I mentioned. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, Oscar Piastri, he's a lucky boy. I mean, when I say lucky, I mean like no one died. I mean that would be unlucky, like of extremes. But to get out there with that minimal points loss after what was a bizarre crash. Is it pressure, or was it just track conditions? Was it wind? I'm quick to praise him when he does well, so I'm going to be critical when he doesn't do well. And I know I jump on Lando for being the one to crack and break, and so yeah, you got to put it down to Oscar. I don't think anyone needs to tell him that. I think he knows it. But I think then we just got to go on to Singapore, which again could be equally as a frustrating race. But really impressed with Baku after what was a pathetic showing in Monza. F1 bounced back. I'm happy. So yeah, Pitlane Paul could be happy. Anyway, I'm going to get back in the car, go home, watch the Premier League. Big game today. The mighty Arsenal take on Manchester City. Although, by the time you listen to this podcast, by the time you listen, that game has already happened. So Arsenal will have taken on the mighty Manchester City, and we probably would have won 3-1, I think.
No.
But yeah. Anyway, good day.
So what I will say, right? Let's unpack the shopping extravaganza of Pitlane Paul there. Right, was it better than Monza? Yes, it was. Was the result better than the race, though? Could we cheer for Carlos getting on the podium? Yeah, of course we could. Did we think Liam put in a brilliant display? Yeah, of course we could. But was the brilliance of what they did on track, was it an exciting race to watch? I guess if you're a purist and you can take joy in just watching Liam keep everybody behind him lap after lap after lap after lap, and you're a Liam fan, then it was probably the best race of the season. But as a spectacle, while I enjoyed the result and thought there were some great drives in there, as a spectacle, it was real difficult watching for me.
Right, agreed.
So I loved the result, absolutely did. The right person won it. Thrilled that Carlos got on the podium. The 51 laps that had to go around to get us to that result, I wasn't the biggest fan of.
There wasn't a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing. There was a lot of exhaust-to-wing racing, which is not as exciting.
Yeah, maybe the wind, like you said, it didn't give us enough of a DRS lunge. Like I hate DRS breeze bys, but this seemed to be the opposite, where the DRS was almost negated by.
It was a few meters too short with the wind.
Yeah. Oh well. Quick update on our casino games. You're not going to be a fan of this, Brian. So okay, well, roulette. We drew 11th out the hat, and that was Bortoletto. I said Lawson, you said Alonso. We were both wrong. Blackjack. I went first. I picked Charles and Lewis, who between them scored me a paltry 6 points. You're never going to win a game of blackjack with 6 points. unless the other person goes bust,
Oh, God.
by a long way.
I went Mercedes,
picked-
didn't I?
Yeah, George and Kimmy. You
Oh,
got
God.
30 points because they
Damn
finished
it.
so high up, so I beat you there. Then you made a big song and dance about going first in the 3-card poker, and I should never forget that it was your turn to go first so that you could play the Oscar Lando Max thing, of which precisely none of those cards were close to each other. And I had Charles, Lewis, and George, so Charles and Lewis being next to each other means I won that hand as well.
Oh,
so
boy.
that was a much needed win for me there to claw me back into contention on the casino games. You're now going into this, you were 6 clear, and I won 2 of those, so you're now 4 clear in that. I also clawed back points because I said Max was going to win the race. I got maximum points for the predictions for Max's position. So we're getting, you can give me the bird, but it's all getting very spicy at the top of the Rob versus Brian charts.
We'll just wait till we talk
Talking of top
fantasy
of the
for a minute and what
charts.
I did there, too, because that was brutal. But keep going with the race charts.
Talking race charts. So Oscar Piastri stays top, 324. Very lucky boy, as Paul said, because Lando Norris closed the gap, but by
Very
where
little.
did you come in the end? It's like
I
4
don't know.
points or something. So
Yeah.
he's on 299, so he's 25 points behind. He is a race win behind. Max Verstappen is 255. Now, we didn't discuss it during the race, but there's been chatter online afterwards. Lots of people saying, is Max back in the title hunt now?
No.
My head still says no.
No.
I don't think he is either.
We have
I
7
think
races
he now
left.
has a car
he's,
that could...
yeah, he's, what is it? 70 points behind? 69 points behind? 69.
Yeah, like
That's 3 races, 3 race wins where Oscar has 0.
And
No.
Lando, because he needs to also catch Lando as
Correct.
well.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I don't think he is. But with the car getting some extra performance, I think he has a massive say in which way it goes, depending on who he takes points off.
Could be.
I don't think every race is a shoe-in Papaya Boys 1-2 all the way. I think those days are the first half of the season. We're almost seeing the polar opposite of last year, where McLaren came good at the end and really put their foot down and disappeared into the distance. This season, they did all that at the beginning, and it feels like some of the others... Or maybe it's track-specific. Maybe we'll go back to a track that the McLarens love, and the 2 of them will just race away again. But
Could be.
so that's that. Carlos's points haul rockets him up the charts up to 12th, right behind Lance Stroll on 32. So Carlos 31, Lance on 32. By the way, you said very quickly Fernando Alonso will gobble up Lance Stroll and will go past him. Well, that's the first race out of the way where neither of them scored any
Got
points.
7
So
more. I
Lance
got
is
7
still
more tries.
7 more tries. And we still have Colapinto down the bottom, pointless. And over in Constructorland, McLaren missed the chance to wrap up the title this week. They had to beat Ferrari by 9 points, which they didn't. So they're still top on 1 million points. And Mercedes, 623. Mercedes 290. Ferrari 286. So Mercedes have leapfrogged them this week, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
Yep. So Mercedes now in second spot.
And Red Bull sniffing around there, too, because Yuki brought some points on the win.
Oh,
272, right behind Ferrari.
So the battle for second spot is getting pretty close.
It is. It's actually an interesting battle to watch. And as we talked about last week, the battle for 5th, Williams with the Carlos points, now 101. Racing Bulls 72, pretty far behind, but ahead of Aston Martin in 62. Sauber 55, and then the Haas and Alpine, I don't think they moved, 44 and 20. This was, I gotta say, like there were a lot of stats that we talked about, some of them from Qualy, but it is time to talk about some of them from the race. SAP Stats Baku 2025 edition. Today was Verstappen's 6th Grand Slam win. He's now tied with Lewis for second on the all-time list. We heard this on the commentary. Behind only Jim Clark with 8. But this was his second in a row because he did the same at Monza. That is insane. How few and far between these are, and he has 2 in a row. Verstappen's only the 3rd driver to win from pole in Baku. With his victory last time at Monza, he's won consecutive races for the first time since Canada and Spain of 24. So the domination of Max ended in 24 midseason, and it's back again, apparently. He's now led more laps this season, 282, we heard this on TV, than Lando, 241. I didn't think of this until I saw it. Verstappen wins the second Red Bull victory for Laurent Mekies as team principal. So 2 wins for Laurent as team principal, none of them from Yuki. Sorry, this is a cheap shot. George Russell's P2 for Mercedes was his 7th podium finish of the season. It was Mercedes' best finish in Baku since 2019. And at Baku, Russell's previously finished 3rd in 22 and 24, so it was a great finish for him. But the driver of one of the drivers of the day, Carlos Sainz, P3, became the second driver after Alain Prost to finish on the podium for McLaren, Ferrari, and Williams. That's kind of a cool stat. I like the breadth of teams, the specific teams, and the longevity of those teams in our sport. The only person to do that with the podiums, Alain Prost. It was Williams' last podium at Baku on a full-length race was 2017. Williams' last podium in a full-length race was Baku 2017. Lance Stroll. We talked about this last week. That was when Valtteri pipped him at the line to take second. I don't want to talk about the fact that Russell was second for Williams in the 1 lap or 2 lap, I thought it was Belgian Grand Prix in 21. That race doesn't exist. We don't talk about it. Sainz scored 15 points today. He'd only scored 16 the entire season before today. We've seen a lot of people, the Hulk, Isaac, others, get their podiums and just get a ton of points. He gained 6 positions in the Drivers' Championship, where he talked about that. Career best P5 for Liam Lawson. Yuki's P6 was his first top 8 finish for the second Red Bull driver since Austin of 24. And then, interestingly, with P8, Hamilton beat Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc in a race for the first time since Silverstone. And like I said, I think he tried to give that back and didn't, but it was nice to know it was late team orders, according to Rob. And then finally, this was talked about a little bit, but Piastri's retirement ended a 34-race scoring streak and 44 consecutive race finishes. That was the second longest streak in history. So it was a fascinating race stat-wise. It was fascinating for Pitlane Paul. I still thought it was a snoozer.
Yeah, I got to agree. So, what we got now?
Quick fantasy update. Yep.
That's right.
So I don't think we did Monza.
Yeah. No, we were so quick, so we didn't do it.
So what we want to talk about is where people finished. CD with high fives, fantasytools.com, F1 Fantasy Tools, second from Monza. Nui team, who dis? Peter, Tails I Win, Andy, Box 1, Patrick, Yank It Back from Australia, Michael, L Plan 1, Andrea, Hammer Time Boys, Michael, No Fuel, Sergio, and Switch to Plan B, Michael. A different Michael than the other one. So amazing job for Monza. But let's talk about where we are with Baku. However, I want to talk a little bit about the teams first before we talk about how it happened. Rob already talked about this. He did a final fix. He did a replacement. He goes, yeah, I'm going to take Oscar out and put Max in. Fantasy Hub Rob, friend of the show, did the math. If you 2x'd those drivers, which most people probably did. Yep. You know what the swing was from the Oscar DNF to the Max win? 110 points. 110 points. Only 19.4% of the top 500 teams used the chip, but it was worth 110 points. I am blown away by that, and I think that's tremendous, and I'm happy you did it. I'm happy for you. Not for me, necessarily, because when I put my team in, I was so excited. I said, you know what? It's time to get points. No more budget building. 8 races left. Points. So I went Oscar, and I went Charles. I went McLaren. I went Ferrari. And then I'm like, you know what? This is going to be good because Charles is great around this track. 6 points total. Oscar won last year, negative 32 points total because I 2x'd him. And again, my budget drivers did great. Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz, hello, they're phenomenal. I picked some great guys. I only ended up with 63 points on the week because of Charles and Oscar. Oh my God, I got crushed. Oh, I wish I had done, but I used a wild card to get there. I had to do 4 subs, so you can't do double chips, so I couldn't do a final fix. When you sent me this note, I'm like, oh, it's a great idea. Too late, can't do it. Anyway, no one cares. Oliver Beerme, by team member Mark, 226 points, just ahead of Blackster Strap-On, Daniel, I see you. Harley is a good boy from Nancy in third. High five, CD. Papaya rules, Pato. And then we have Wikidu from Muzahadin. 44th gear, Gavin. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H1, Michael. Voltron, Steven, and Yank the Mic, Michael in 10th. So good job by you all. Rob, you kicked my butt this week because of
I say, can't you go down to 12th rather than just doing 10th?
Well, you can keep going if you like. Were you 12th?
No, I was 12th, yeah.
Nice. So the top three for the season so far: 44th gear, Gavin is now first. Box 1, Patrick, and at Yank the Mic, Michael lead the standings at this point of the season.
Oh, good work, everyone. Yeah, I was. I think it was Fantasy Hub Rob that gave me the idea for the final fix. They were debating it in between free practice and in between quali and the race, and I was sitting down just listening to the boisterous Azerbaijan anthem when they go at the beginning. I was like, it's worth a shot because I don't know Oscar's going to get much from back there, and he didn't. So pretty happy about that.
Spoiler alert: he was terrible.
Oh man, yeah. So that's that. It is interesting to hear Paul's view. Now I think it's because Paul was so down about Monza that maybe anything that wasn't Monza was going to be better. But yeah, interesting to see how different people have different reactions to the race. I'm just looking forward to Singapore and hoping it does a little bit better for us in terms of wheel-to-wheel action. It usually gives us some decent battles on the track. The race was, in terms of, we probably saw Kimi on George, Liam taking Yuki straight after the pits. Name another overtake we saw today that you can remember.
There were a few DRS ones in turn 1.
No.
And a few coming out of the pits.
Were there? I don't think it
after
counts
lap
an overtake
10.
when you.
No, I don't remember too many.
Yeah. Anyway, so my point being that I don't know that Singapore has too much to beat in terms of wheel-to-wheel action. So we shall see. We're going to have to come up with something to talk about next week, but at least we can do a Singapore preview around whatever else that we do. So yeah, there we are.
Sounds great.
That's all I got.
That works for me, my man. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you being part of the Dirty Side with us. We'll be back next week with something and a Singapore preview. We'll talk to you in 1 week's time.